Elliott just took a $4 billion bite of Pepsi, and it's shaking up the soda world. Coke's playbook is under fire. Refranchise bottling, cut the dead weight, and maybe even spin off snacks. Is a breakup brewing or just a quick fizz? Stay tuned to see who wins this shakeup.
Gary, thing number 4, we're talking Elliott Investment Management. They made a big push into Pepsi. Thing number 4, Gary, Elliott Investment Management's $4 billion stake in Pepsi. What do we need to know?
Yeah, so Elliott Investment Management is run by Paul Singer. Super interesting guy, somebody I've met before, and I have a ton of respect for him. They announced a $4 billion stake in Pepsi. And Elliott is an activist fund, and they went activist right away. So they now own almost 2% of Pepsi shares. Elliott highlighted that Pepsi's beverage division, which includes Pepsi, Gatorade, Mountain Dew, they've lost market share for more than a decade. They've consistently underperformed competitors such as Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper. I'll also point out, Rob, there are tons of new drinks that have grabbed enormous amounts of market share. Even in the water business, Liquid Death, they made a ton of money selling at things like music festivals
Yeah.
and grabbing attention there. You certainly see it like in New
Yeah,
York bars. Not that I've been in. What's
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I keep eyes on the CPG space as well. And so you've had like these alternative kind of healthy sodas, right? I don't know about that. So I'm sure,
Yeah.
but Poppy, Olipop, there's some names, right? Poppy was actually acquired by Pepsi, right? So that was a push for them to move into that market, right? To where, okay, here are some of these alternatives, but then it upsets the apple cart with all of the loyal followers when you have a buyout like that happen, right? Same thing happened on the pasta sauce side. We're involved in that area too. And Campbell's bought Rouse, right? And so now you've got that whole dynamic. But yeah, sorry, how to interject there, because you're exactly right, Gary. There are just so many alternative options, and that's just in the soda category, right? Talk about everything else as a beverage unit.
Yeah. By the way, we'll come back to Pepsi in 1 second. I read a really good story when Campbell's was negotiating to buy Rouse. Or is it? I think it may be pronounced Rayos. I'm not sure. Anyway, they said, "Hey, listen, we have this special recipe, and we're really worried you're going to change the recipe, and we don't want that." And Campbell's, to their credit, said, "We've had the same recipe for tomato soup for 100 years. We are the kings of not changing recipes." And that was what sealed the deal, right? They're like, this is what we do. We've had the same chicken noodle soup recipe for decades, so good
Yeah.
for Campbell's on that one. I also think Pepsi is big. Let's go back to Pepsi. I think they've been losing share as well to like energy drinks, things like Red Bull. It's been a problem for them. And Pepsi's market value is down more than 25% since its May high. That's a big drop. Um, Paul Singer and Elliott Management, they're reviewing options for Pepsi's snack unit, right? That's Lay's. And basically, what they want to do, by they, I mean Elliott, is the opposite of what Warren Buffett wants for Kraft Heinz. That Elliott is actually suggesting that Pepsi should refranchise bottling operations, mirrors Coca-Cola's model, so giving up some control, and have outside franchisees. And then look at streamlining the product portfolio by cutting underperforming food and beverage lines. The whole idea of combining Pepsi and Lay's is, hey, they sell to the same place, right? You just need one set of trucks driving to every 7-Eleven and convenience stores and grocery stores. Basically, any place where you would sell Frito-Lay's, you would be selling Pepsi, Gatorade, Mountain Dew, stuff like that. But it hasn't been helping. And so Elliott Management is saying, let's start taking a look at everything and start divesting the stuff that's not working, selling things. So really interesting that Paul Singer in this particular situation, again, another consumer products company, is going the exact opposite direction that Warren Buffett wants to see Kraft Heinz go.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, Gary, and I think we alluded to it, but I mean, doesn't this just speak to the brand power, pricing? Obviously, we spoke about changing tastes. that Americans are having, just different priorities, what we're prioritizing as a society. I mean, yeah, I think that just paints a very, very, very clear picture there.
Yeah, it's really interesting what's happening, Rob. First of all, we talked about this in the Kraft Heinz segment. Um, But, Secretary Kennedy at Health and Human Services is really trying to push Americans toward eating more healthy. In the case of Kraft Heinz, saying, hey, enough with the ultra processed foods. Let's eat more natural foods, more healthy foods. I'm with him on that. When it comes to stuff like this, to say, drink less water full of high fructose corn syrup. I mean, listen, I'm not qualified to give medical advice. I'm not a doctor. That's not what we do at Deep Knowledge Investing, but I'm comfortable saying that we should all be drinking less water full of high fructose corn syrup, right? I mean, that's just general health stuff. So I think Americans are becoming more health conscious, and things like, Pepsi, Gatorade, Mountain Dew, Frito-Lay's, there's a reason that those brands aren't doing as well as they had in the past. The other thing is those companies have increased pricing a lot over the last, 5, 6 years. And I think they've hit the point where a lot of Americans are saying, you know what, enough. Either I don't need this, I'm just going to eat healthier. Or alternatively, I think a lot of people have realized that for stuff like this, the store brands are often just as good. Um, and that there are cheaper options. And this isn't an exact comparison, but I know, like when I'm at home in Connecticut and I go to Costco there, I buy a lot of the Kirkland brand stuff, right? Instead of the branded stuff. It's cheaper, and I think the quality is at least as good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you nailed it, Gary, and definitely going to be interesting, and you're seeing it play out in real time here with Pepsi.